And take us away.
Okay, alright, so welcome back to Webcomicast. Still need to get used to actually using that name, but hey, maybe some of you were using it.
I like it. It rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not used to saying it. Anyway, I'm Martin.
I'm Adam.
Yeah, and we took a while to settle on what we wanted to do for this one, but if you're looking at the screen, you can probably see that we're doing Goonish Shive.
Yeah, so Goonish Shive. There was a consideration, Eerie Cuties and Menage a Trois, what's the name of that little company, like Pixie Tricks?
Yes, something like that, yes.
That sounds like a pony.
Yeah.
Like, wow, saying that out loud, that is a character on My Little Pony.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going through something, and we were thinking about doing that just because it'd be timely, but we've got a lot to say about El Goonish Shive.
Yeah, though we are going to try and actually limit the podcast time on this one because we realize a lot of you folks probably don't have hour and a half, 2 hours to kill listening to us.
Yeah. Plus, okay, remember how at the beginning of Watch we had to come out and say, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we're going to complain about, but on the whole, we're fans of this comic?
Yeah, this one's going to be more like we have a lot of stuff to complain about, and we used to be fans.
Yeah, like on the outline, like before, we did a little outline about what we're going to talk about for this little comic, and as before, as ever, I'm going to be drawing like doing a little doodles of the characters, but our outline is almost nothing but complaints.
Yeah, we do want to be. We don't want to be unfair on this. Like, we're going to try and outline what our specific issues are with it, and we are going to give the content due when necessary. And I'll go ahead and admit right now, I have not read the comic in probably a year or two at this point.
I have. You are not missing much.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we used to be really, really big fans of this comic. Like, I actually gave Martin for what was it, Christmas? I gave you those books.
I think so. I think I don't know. I forget exactly what occasion it was. Maybe it was my birthday.
Yeah, they're in the same month. So
they're around the same time. So.
Yeah. It's hard to remember, but yeah, I actually gave Martin like years ago. I once gave him like some of the print books that are of the comic.
Yeah, which makes it one of the few webcomics I own a print version of. Like there's that Misfile, Venus Envy, and then one or two things I didn't know were webcomics about the book.
Yeah, it's always a weird feeling. I had that same feeling when I read Axe Cop at the bookstore once.
Yeah. Okay, so as I said right from the get-go here, we don't want to be unfair.
I think we're more than fair in our problems with the comic.
Yeah. And yeah. I don't know. So okay, Adam, you want to try and explain what this comic is about because I'm kind of blanking.
All right, the comic is it's about a group of friends. Let me see. There's eight. Yes, Ted, Elliot, Ellen, Justin, Sarah, Susan. That's 6. And Nanase and fuck.
Grace, honestly.
What's that?
Grace.
Oh, how the fuck did I forget Grace? Oh yes, the main character of sorts is a mad scientist named Ted. He's created several wonderful experiments. He's fallen in love with a girl who's part squirrel, part alien, part chimera. His best friend is a martial artist who trains at anime-style dojos with his best friend with 2 other friends. They have that best friend who's a martial artist has a twin who's a girl version of him that was split into a separate person. There's a lot of really insane creative ideas here. And obviously, like with Watch, transforming people plays a big role in the story.
Yeah, they're not in quite the same way as Watch. Not always. Like there are times it fits into the same sort of territory.
Yeah, but in general, the fan service is a lot better, and like it's about this group of friends going on weird adventures, mostly related to Ted and his mad science, and the origins of Grace, that squirrel chimera alien girl.
Yeah, which
you think that you think that sums it up?
More or less. Like,
I'm trying to get better at
that. Yeah, listen, I guess I would just throw out a note that if you're looking for a main plot, it doesn't, like, it's not that it doesn't have storylines, it doesn't have plots, it does. It just doesn't have a main plot.
We're gonna discuss that, because that's one of the big problems we have with this.
Yeah. In the outline, I should put in a section for that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yes. So that's the intro. I'm gonna segue right into positives, I think, because I can think of a good few just coming up with that intro.
Yes. You go ahead.
The cast of characters is very. Does this not have a character page either? What the fuck? Is that gone now? Do webcomics just not have that anymore?
Yeah.
I could have sworn there was a character.
No, you're saying?
I could have sworn there was a character page at here at some point. Great.
It might have been lost in the redesign. I know Misfall did that.
Yeah.
Which also lost some side info on the town and stuff, but whatever.
Yeah. But yes, the characters are, for the most part, very, very fun and very interesting. Very interesting. Like you actually do believe them as friends for a lot of them. You do feel the camaraderie they have, the way they hate each other, the way they make each other laugh, the way they bounce off one another, and it feels.
There's a reason he keeps using this qualifier for the most part.
Yes. There are a couple of characters that in the main cast that really, really do not work, but in general, you do like these 8 people. They all have like their kind of they all have like their kind of internal connections and friendliness. And you do want to see them, and you kind of root for them as they go about through all these adventures and all these struggles.
Yeah, and the specific set they have are just this weird, just a weird town in particular, but it happens to have like certain like magic users and mad scientists and stuff in it. That's a good structure for just doing a lot of weird stuff. Like you could feasibly do just about anything with the setup the comic has.
Yeah. You can be very creative, and you can be very inventive. Go in strange, cool directions.
Yes. The art is largely pretty good.
Yes, the art actually I'd say better than pretty good. I think a lot of the art. Well, obviously it's improved as it goes along, as we all do, as I do. But
I think it kind of has that Misfall effect for me, where I prefer some of the earlier art over some of the newer stuff.
Yeah, I think it looks incredible in color.
Yeah,
like the colors.
I actually kind of prefer it black and white.
What's that?
I said I actually kind of prefer it black and white. But...
Said the guy who colors our comics.
Yep.
I said the
same thing about Misfall.
Well, Misfile's coloring I think is kind of weird, but in this one I really do like the way the colors look. Like they're very bright. They're very welcoming. It kind of really helps to like a kind of toy well, not Toy Store to the same extent that Smash Brothers does, because Smash Brothers for the Wii U, like when you play it, it's like you're in a toy store and it's awesome, but like there is just kind of this feeling of like bright happiness to it that I do enjoy.
Yeah, not that being in a toy store is always awesome. Anyway.
And we're going to segue fast into problems with the plot. But
I'm kind of wanting to beat around the bush on that for a bit and just kind of try and say some more good things about it first.
Yeah, but my point is but there are parts where the plot is really good. The plot is
yes. And also, besides just the main characters, there are a lot of like very instantly recognizable extras in the comic.
Yeah, that's always very fascinating and very interesting to do. That's one thing that we love about blues.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. It's always easier to say something negative than something positive, even when it's something you like.
Yeah. But yeah. And there are a lot of beats in the comic that work. There was a villain plan that was really interesting. There are a lot of points that were very fascinating and like, oh wow, I wonder what they're going to do with that. And like that's something that's really good. They do have a talent for really coming up with enticing storylines that do fascinate readers. They fascinate us, certainly.
Yes. The talent is good at executing certain things. Like just like a lot of the time they do know how to do a moment well.
Yeah. There are a lot of like very good, very emotional moments that I can think of just like off the top of my head. And also, like Martin said, the world that creates this town is very well established. Like, it is kind of like this weird, like, anime world where like characters can just have these haircuts and like have these weird hair colors, but at the same time there's like aliens walking around and like some people that you notice like you go to school and like the teacher is very obviously a warlock, and like you're sort of saying like, okay, is he? And you can sort of feel the characters think like, was he really a warlock, or am I just kind of seeing things? And it works. Like, you do believe that this is the sort of town that works like this.
Yeah, and it's not about giving you a sense of what the town's like. Like, to an extent, you kind of feel like you know the layout of the place. Just like you know so many of the businesses, and you know that there are two schools in it, and what side of the town they're on.
Oh yeah, yeah, like you feel kind of like you're in this place. That's really hard to do.
Yeah,
it's really hard to establish location.
It's never really felt like for me writing two comics set in Atlanta. I think it had never really shown that it's there.
Have you ever been to Atlanta?
No, I have not. Actually, I think I passed through once. But
yeah, that's what I've done. That might that might explain it.
Yeah.
But yeah, same thing with the fictional city that I work with, Stonewall. Like, it doesn't feel that complete. I've been trying to work on it like a little bit, but not really.
Yeah.
Like, you do feel like the world they established works. Probably more so than any other webcomic I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I can go to the obvious one. I keep trotting out as like good example of stuff in comics, but yeah. The city is. Yeah. If anyone's wondering, yes, I'll do Dunkirk Court eventually.
Yeah. He's pressuring me to read it, and I don't wanna.
Yeah. Actually, I can run this by you later. But I actually had a thought on that.
Okay. But yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes,
okay, so
these are all quite
like
good.
Early praise here is would I read some of it? Absolutely, I'd read up to a point, and we'll tell you later what that point is.
And read it from a point. Don't read it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, a lot of webcomics, ours included, aren't that good when they start out. But like, this one in particular, I think they even know, like, yeah, if you want to read it, like, start from this point.
Yeah, it has that issue that certain comics have where early on it isn't entirely sure if it wants to be a serious series or a dad series. And it doesn't know if it wants to have a fourth or not.
Yeah, Bob and George did that too. Which we might do, I'm not sure. Martin hasn't read it.
Yeah, maybe we should just make a deal. I'll read that if you read Dunkirk Court.
I don't know how fair that is, man.
Yeah.
Well, then again, it's like Bob and George is short, but it's like there are a lot of comics, but like they read fucking fast.
Yeah.
I mean, like you can just flip through it.
Yeah.
Plus, I honestly don't know how big a fan you're going to be if you're not a Mega Man guy. But like, we're getting off topic.
Yeah. I'm sure this is what you all listen for, though, is just us talking about random unrelated stuff. Because we probably don't sound like we know what we're talking about.
Okay, yeah. Goonish Shive.
Yes,
should we go right into it now? Because I think I'm out of positives to talk about.
Yeah. I probably could keep dragging it out, just coming up with like specific stuff I like or something, but you don't want to highlight that stuff too much, just because I see it's like if you want to see the good stuff, go ahead and read some of it. Because you know what, I'd recommend the early parts.
The thing about the comic is, it's not that like it got bad. It's just like
it always had certain issues and they snowballed.
What's that?
I said it always had certain issues and they snowballed.
Yeah, like the problems just became more and more apparent.
Yeah. Okay, so feel free to start us off.
Okay. the pacing of the comic is a joke.
Yes.
I mean, it's fucking God. Okay, you know how Inuyasha did that thing where they kept going with the same storyline and never really changed it up? And the same plot ran through the whole thing and there was never any progress. It's that. It's fucking that. It's I think the trope is arc delay.
Yeah. More than once, a particular pair of characters have hijacked the entire plot for more than a year's time.
I think we'll get to that. It's just that.
I was just wanting to bring that up as an issue as a point of contention for what we're talking about.
Yeah, the comic goes kind of nuts.
Dragged out, or everything is abruptly just ended without warning. Yeah. There isn't really a middle ground.
It's not just that it's not just that characters get focused. It's that the comic is like, fuck, I can't think of a good metaphor. I'm not Dr. House, but the comic continuously introduces new plot lines, new ideas, new really creative stuff that we talked about. But the thing is, you need to have a payoff for that. You do, and the comic doesn't.
Usually it does not.
No, it almost never does. Like, there's a sense, like, there was like, one of the characters we mentioned that, like, one of the really great villains that they were setting up was called Lord Ted. And, like, at the beginning of the comic, like, it seemed like he was going to be, like, this really fascinating villain. He was, like, Ted, the main mad scientist in an alternate universe where he's evil. And it was going to be fascinating. And there was, like, even a filler comic where the creator said, like, yeah, I'm very, very proud of the backstory I've given Lord Ted. It should be very complex, and I'm really hoping that you guys enjoy it.
And for a while, it kind of keeps occasionally showing you stuff with him or mentioning him.
No, they stopped doing that.
Giving you a little bit of his backstory or something.
They stopped that.
And then it just stops dead.
Yeah. Like, it's like, imagine if you're playing a Mario game and you're running and trying to get to Bowser, and then right in the middle, you stop and you play Mario Party, and Bowser's not there, and Bowser never gets mentioned again. You're like, okay, what's going on with Bowser?
And then after that, you just start playing like Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah, like all of a sudden you're trying to find Wart. And like no one asked about Bowser. Like, is Peach still there? Who fucking cares? Let's play Mario 2.
It's just strange how the talk does that. Because I mean, this is a consistent thing. It's really not just this one plot that does this.
Yeah. It's almost like
all the time.
It honestly, it comes off like the creator is ADD.
Yeah, it really does. It comes off like, and this is going to be a complaint we have with more than one comic.
Yeah.
It comes off a lot like, at that point in time, he just draws whatever he feels like drawing, as opposed to what makes sense to continue the story.
Yeah, it's like
okay. I can think of at least one example where a filler even outright said that a guy was added, like given a plot just because he liked drawing this random extra.
It's like, okay, you can do that to an extent, but at the same point, like, you still need to tie things together. You still need to keep to a cohesive plot. And he really,
it feels like really doesn't happen.
What?
Yeah. I said, which really doesn't happen.
No, he really doesn't. It's like, it just keeps going off the rails.
Yes.
We're going to be bitching a lot about this issue. So like about stuff in general.
No, what are you saying?
We're gonna be bitching a lot about stuff in general about the comics, so you know, because I think out from here, it's just gonna be us complaining.
Yeah, we'll occasionally throw out some like examples of good stuff the comic did to like counterbalance it.
Yeah.
Just like this was here where they did it right, or something like that.
Yeah. It's just.
Because I can think of the one storyline that had a proper like build up and payoff.
Yeah, the Damien arc, but that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Damien arc was really good. The thing is, Christ.
Yeah, even it had the issue where you could kind of tell that, again, he got kind of all ADD with it, because the actual climax wasn't focused on the characters who the storyline was about.
He's not scrawny enough. Hang on. Yeah. A lot of the problems that we have with the comic are just are just that there is no payoff to anything for the most part. Stuff gets introduced
and at any given
dropped.
time, the whole genre can just change on a whim.
Yeah,
and just suddenly you're just. Yeah.
Again, it just kind of feels like, I was watching the Pokemon anime on Netflix the other night. I'm gonna make this whole thing about, I'm gonna make a whole arc about a card game. Like, well, does
I really want this person to be a superhero now.
Yeah, like, does a card game have anything to do with, like, the storyline that you've been setting up and that you've been built and all the plot threads that you have sitting? Like, nah, I just want to do it. Like,
yeah, and both of those are real examples. We didn't just make those up.
No, we did not. It's just, it does become a problem if you're doing a long-running storyline. You have to resolve the plot threads that you're introducing, otherwise people do not care. And that's kind of what happened to us. We stopped caring because he just was not going to, because it just came off. It was starting to just realize that he was not interested in finishing anything. Yeah.
And relating to that, which I think that'd be fine to move on into our next point.
Yeah, because I feel like a broken record.
Yeah.
Like, I want to complain about it more, but I think I've brought up all the points.
Yeah, relating to that, there are specific issues that a lot of the pacing problems also tie into a lot of the problems that's into the cast itself.
I give him nice, like, scrawny, nerdy arms.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, the cast, like we said, for the most part, the cast is really good. I really like this character that we're doing right now, Ted, the mad scientist. He's really funny. He's really interesting, and
yeah, he's charming and likable and has a story arc.
Okay, wait. I gotta bring this up. One of the things that we talked about were like, yeah, stuff gets introduced and never resolved. Who the fuck is Ted's mom? He lives with his dad. His mom is out of the picture, and they've been building up, and they were building up for a while, like what his mom was like, because it's a big mystery. Like, ooh, she's like, did she abandon him? It's like, and they've hinted at it, but they've never fucking explained it.
Yeah, it's like the most we know about her, like, concretely, is that she spent some time in Europe.
No. They've expanded on that since then. Like, we've actually seen her on camera.
Okay.
I'm actually going to bring that up.
Okay. Like I said, I haven't read it in a year or two, just because eventually I just got fed up with it.
Yeah, you get fed up. That's the problem. You can't just jerk chains forever.
Yes, and okay, so with the cast, you have certain issues with characters who just aren't like, or who aren't like more characters who are, or characters just not getting enough screen time. It's just like there are a lot of little issues with the cast, and there is one big one. We'll get to that.
Damn, I got trailed off reading this thing. Hang on a moment. Yeah, what were we talking about? Yeah, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
I was wanting to transition and talking about the cast and the issues with that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We're very professional, you guys.
I have ADD, apparently, because I've yeah. Like, what? Yeah.
Okay, so yes, with Ted, like good example with him is how, okay, sort of his designated role is that he's the non-action guy. Okay.
Yeah. He sits at home and invents things and helps you out with that.
Yeah. Which is all well and good, but like very often he doesn't really have any direction at all.
Yeah, you get the feeling that, like we said, there's the stuff with Lord Ted. Like it feels like a lot of his points and a lot of his progression was going to be tied in with that. And because that's in general, a lot of stuff with him just feels like it's either been dropped or it's already been resolved. Yeah.
Like the Lord Ted thing, it's just dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
The same with his mom, that never really gets any follow through that much. His relationship with Grace is basically set in stone at this point, like, so that's not really going anywhere.
Well, in all fairness, I think if they did I think if they did try and add problems just for no reason, it would have like it would have.
I agree with that. I'm just saying that just like he has no direction because he has nothing going on.
Yeah.
Granted, I would take that over all the stupid pointless crap they introduced with everybody else's relationships just because the author felt like doing something different that day.
Yeah. Again, it's the way we. I'm not trying to sound like we're way smarter or better than everyone else, but like the way we do comics is we write up specific scripts, which you know what, fuck it. You guys want some spoilers? No, I'll bring up a script that we've already done. The text is so tiny you probably won't be able to read it anyway, but yeah, this is a typical script. Martin has sent me this. I'm going to make it in black so you guys can see it. This is a typical script. Martin writes. This is for Writer's Reign, which Martin writes. He sends me this. I draw the line art, and he colors it. But this is how it starts out. We have the script. We have and even before a chapter starts, we kind of have a basic, clear idea in mind about how it's going to go.
And we have ideas what chapter is next.
Yeah, we have story arcs planned out. We don't just trail off whenever we get an idea. Like, I've never had...
Which, if you're doing, like, a comedy series or something, that's fine. But if you're trying to tell an engaging, ongoing plot, that doesn't work.
It's not like Martin never calls me up before I start drawing and just says, like, oh, hey, you know that script I sent you? Fuck it. I want you to draw penises. Lots and lots of penises.
It's like... It's not that you can't go back and edit things later, but I've done that.
Yeah, we've all done that.
Yeah, it's like there have been times we finished the page and then I've gone back and said, like, no, I want to change this to this. Like, that happens. But it's just like you have to have a certain clear vision, and comic often doesn't. Now, anyway, getting back to the cast.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Grace is kind of similar to Ted, where she just doesn't, like, she had her big story arc and now she doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
And they keep kind of trying to give her stuff to do. It just doesn't work.
Like the storyline that I'm looking at, that I'm flipping through right now, where she has to find like a crazy boar and try to mercy kill it. Like, it's kind of a stupid plot. Like, yeah, you don't really care, but it's okay. Like, it's decent enough that you.
But then you have like stopping this like fantasy hijacks thing for she has to do a cry because she just learned who Hitler is.
Yeah. And, like, in general, Grace is a very funny character. Like, again, Grace is a really interesting character. And honestly, if they were going to do a slice of life kind of thing, it might be more interesting if they just quit with the plot and just...
Did it kind of focus on her and just kind of did comedy out of how she's kind of a fish out of water.
Yeah, and Grace and Anase work together really well. Like, you do really enjoy Grace and like seeing the two of them together.
Yeah.
Like, they have a really great boyfriend-girlfriend relationship.
Yeah, I'm wanting to save a particular half of the cast for last on this, just because they transition well into our next point.
Yeah, so I think like half the cast. I think. Okay, I think no. Yeah, it's more than half, but like most of the cast is really good.
Yeah.
Grace doesn't really do anything.
Yeah. Elliot.
Hey, it's kind of boring, but it's all right.
Yeah. Then Elliot's kind of the everyman. I think he actually does get the most screen time, but it doesn't really feel like it does.
It's not that interesting.
He's like silly of a character.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't really leave that big of an impression.
And like at any given time, his motivations or his role in the plot can completely change on a whim. This happens a lot.
Yeah.
Susan seems to be the character he has the most concise idea of how he wants to use her.
Yeah, she keeps getting stuff to work with.
Yeah, like she doesn't get the most screen time or anything, but she gets like a good, consistent amount and gets like you know who she is, and she has a clear character arc she's slowly going through.
Yeah.
So no real complaints there.
And the idea for her is that she starts off as like a straw feminist who kind of really hates men, but it turns out over time that she actually really does. It turns out over time that she actually really does. She has to get over her prejudice and all that kind of thing.
She has reasons to feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I think her motivation of sorts for why she sees it that way is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is a fascinating like little story arc. It's just that, and like it is kind of nice that they are focusing on her. Like she does keep getting more stuff to do. There is focus on her trying to get a boyfriend, all that stuff. God fucking damn it!
She seems to have the most clear, concise like idea of what her arc is. And even then, I can think of stuff with her that's been set up and then gone nowhere.
Yeah.
Like that sister thing or whatever they were hinting at.
Oh Jesus! If we tried to list like all the stuff that they were setting up and then dropping, like it would take forever. Like, Jesus! Like
yeah, this concept cannot possibly be like explained enough in listening. If you really want to understand all the issues with this comic's pacing and dropping things or randomly starting things up, you just have to read it.
Okay, like we mentioned Lord Ted, but also Susan. The girl, this girl, she has an identical she has a person living with her who's completely like not living with her, but there's another girl in town who's identical to her physically. They look the same. They kind of act really similar. Like you're like, okay, who is this person? And they never explain it. They've acknowledged that there's some sort of relation there. I mean, it's not just like limited writing or something. It's like they've acknowledged there's a relationship. They just never followed through on it. Yeah, it's just like over and over again we get this feeling that, we'll get to it later. Later when? You can't keep saying later.
Yeah. Which anytime the comic does pick up on something that happened earlier, which usually isn't often, it would rather introduce new ideas than go back to old ones.
Yeah, or it's so much later that you've forgotten it.
Yeah. Even whenever it does go back to something, it usually just comes out of nowhere. It never feels like a natural progression.
Yeah.
So, okay, then there's the other half of the main cast.
Yeah.
Do you want to start on the ones where
Sarah is boring?
What?
Elliot's girlfriend is a person named there she is. There finally. Oh shit. You never even get to see her. She's in the shadows. all that flipping through the archives and Jesus. Yeah.
Okay, so
back to work.
Yeah, okay, I guess we'll start with Sarah then. Sarah and Justin both kind of have the same problem. They're never on screen.
They've tried to fix that a little bit with Justin, but it kind of no, actually, I think they've done a decent enough job. Like, and Justin's main character is that he's gay and he was outed against his will, and he has a crush on Elliot, which because Elliot is straight is unreciprocated, and he was one of the most interesting characters in the story.
Though even then at a point in the story they just kind of started ignoring that.
What's that?
I said though even then that whole crush thing at a point in the story they just kind of started ignoring that.
Yeah. It's just he was again one of the most interesting characters in the comic, I think. Like I did really like him, and sometimes it really felt like he was getting sidelined for no reason.
Yeah.
Like there was a storyline where he trains with Nanase and Elliot, so he has sort of that same anime martial arts powers. Although they keep mentioning over and over again he's not as good as them. But then in one storyline,
and they never really show you this or anything. They just keep like anytime a fight scene comes up, they're just like, no, you better sit this one out.
Yeah, it's just like, wow, you guys are dicks.
Yeah. So and then there's Sarah, who is just like she's kind of in a similar boat as Justin in terms of does not get much focus or any clear direction or anything.
I'm gonna draw Justin right now just to fuck you guys up.
Yeah. Except like Sarah isn't like even interesting. Like there's no consistency to this character. Her personality changes multiple times over the course of the story.
Yeah, you don't really care that much. Again,
and you were saying?
No, I forgot already.
Okay. Yeah, and you're the one accusing people of having ADD.
Oh. Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah. Okay, so okay, Sarah, like, her big thing is just, okay, like, it took forever before we even learned her, like, her last name.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it always, like, anytime something new is done with her, it always just feels so out of nowhere and just forced.
Yeah, it's like, let's give her something to do. Okay, this.
Like, it's revealed that she has a sister who we've seen before in a cutaway ad.
Yeah, her sister is. I'm just gonna say, like,
her sister's like an already established character, and then just they're related.
Yeah, it feels really out of nowhere just to give her something to do.
Yeah, and then suddenly it's like portrayed as like an actual like major part of her character having like inferiority feelings over that. It's just like we didn't even know they were related until like 2 pages ago.
Yeah. It honestly sort of feels like fan fiction. Like someone had just someone came in and liked the character, and so they made up issues to give her. You see that?
Yeah, it's like just nothing with the character feels natural or led up to.
Yeah.
And then there are the other 2 leads. I'll start with Nanase because we're going to have less to say about her.
Oh, is that how you say it? Nanase?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I feel like an asshole now. I've been saying it Nanase.
That might be it, I don't know. I'm not the person to ask for pronunciations.
Yeah.
Nanase sounds more natural to me, but whatever.
But whatever, we'll just say whatever we feel like.
The Asian one.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's... Really the big complaint with her is just... She's kind of inverse Sarah in a way, just the fact that she gets tons of screen time, but she just doesn't have that much going on.
No. She was... And the thing is, like, she's kind of like... She's almost sort of Mary Sue-ish, I've noticed.
Yeah, she really is. It's like she doesn't really...
She's not only...
She doesn't really have any character flaws or anything. Like, the biggest one was just whenever she was struggling with being a lesbian, and even then, she got over that pretty fast.
Yeah, the thing is, like, she was a lesbian who dated Elliot because for a while she didn't know she was a lesbian, and then now she's dating Elliot's sister, clone woman.
Yeah. Like, yeah, the thing with her is just, like, she's there for most of the fight scenes, and, like, her powers are shown off at points for no, like, quite offensive. Like, she does seem to be painted as the most useful one of the group.
Yeah, the thing is, she's not only a martial artist like Jason and Elliot, but she's also a witch, and a very powerful witch. She has like
you mean
some
Justin?
Really... What's that?
Yeah, I said you mean Justin. You said Jason.
What character am I drawing right now? I have no idea. I shouldn't have snorted all that meth before we started broadcasting.
Yeah. This is what happens before we start recording, we talk about true crime.
Yeah.
Or True Detective, yeah. I forgot even the name of the show. Anyway, point is, moving on.
It's set in my hometown. What the fuck?
Okay, so, yeah, with her, it's like, it's not just that she's a martial artist, she's also the best magic user of them. And she's the best martial artist of the group, too.
I think they implied that Jason was better. It's just that she has the magic to back that up.
Yeah, but yeah, she's like the best fighter, the best magic user.
In fact,
at times they seem to think she's... What?
I think they implied in general that Elliot is the best fighter, but he doesn't really fight that much, except for when he gets turned into a girl.
It's like if somebody needs to fight, she's going to be the one to do it.
Yeah.
And actually, in some of the early what you might not have read, they had a straight fight between the 2 of them, and she won.
Yeah, fuck it, she's a Mary Sue.
Yeah, yeah, it's just in general, like she's the she's probably the smartest one in terms of like getting things done. Like the smartest of them's Ted, but like, she has like the most like street smarts as to knowing what to do in a given situation, and she's the toughest one. She has the best magic. They seem to at times imply she's the prettiest one. Just yeah, it's just like. That's always a big issue with her. She's not really inherently unlikable. She's just not interesting, yet she gets a lot of screen time.
Yeah. She, again, kind of a Mary Sue.
Yeah, almost none of them are unlikable. And then there's Ellen.
Whoa. Ellen is unlikable. I will say this.
Yeah, that's what I said. most of them aren't really unlikable, but she is.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to describe it, but she's kind of like, that kind of catty, like if you read Blue Blood Heroes, like Andy, or not really Pinkie
Yeah, she's like the kind of
Pie,
character who's always joking about stuff and all that.
like Rainbow Dash.
Except she routinely crosses the line, and anytime somebody does it, she's just like, well, I've had a hard life, so you don't judge me.
Yeah, there's a limit to how much that character you can do with that kind of character. Like, you can make...
And
like,
she goes way past it.
Yeah. Like, Rainbow... I think in general, My Little Pony does a good job with those kinds of motifs. Like, there's a limit to how... Shit. Are you there? Shit! Oh, fuck, now, great. Well, now his voice is going to be really, really soft. I hope everyone enjoys. I didn't mean to flip out like that. I'm terribly sorry.
Okay, and I'm back.
Fuck, now your voice is going to be so goddamn faint.
Yeah.
And on the plus side, like, the last couple of, the Watch podcast that we did, it was like, the volume was way too low, so I tried to remedy that.
Yeah. As I said, we have a pretty amateur setup here.
We really do. Anyway, back to what... I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, right.
Okay, you were about to talk about Ellen.
Yeah, there is a limit to how much you can do, like, that kind of catty, making lots of jokes kind of character. And Ellen really comes off like a cunt.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that, because...
It's just, she's also, like, stupid and selfish, and just, like, at any given time, she would have, like with Elliot. Like, it's a routine thing with him. Like, anytime he's doubting something, she will come in and just be like, well, at least I don't have that problem.
Yeah. It's like...
Yeah, or like,
at
one point, he's, like, complaining about how people don't really find him fun. She's like, well, they find me fun.
Yeah. So... Like, isn't that just, like, the kind of help you want from a friend? Earlier, Martin was complaining about a family member, like, I don't have that problem. Fuck you. I'm sorry, did that cross the line?
What?
Did that, like...
I honestly only kind of half heard what you said.
Yeah, it's just like, whenever Martin's having a bad day, I completely tell him about how awesome my life is.
Yeah. Typically, whenever one of us is having a bad day, we just say understand each other over and over again.
Yeah, but it means a lot, you know? At least to me it does.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is that, like, with Ellen, it's like, she has this thing about her where at any given time she will, like, take a conversation and just be like, why isn't this about me?
Yeah. And it doesn't even really feel like, I get the feeling it's not supposed to come off like the character is doing that, but like the author is doing that.
Yeah, it's not written like she's in the wrong for doing this.
No,
like, at any given time, if somebody's confronted by her, usually they will bend to whatever she wants.
Yeah.
And like I alluded to earlier, more than once, her and Nanase's relationship has hijacked this storyline for over a year.
Yeah. That was kind of like
At one point in time, seriously, none of the other main characters or most of the supporting cast appeared for over a year straight, just because it was focused on the two of them.
I hope you enjoy these two people, because if you don't, fuck you.
To be fair, with that, there were some serious scheduling issues in that time, but that still was about 9 months worth of comics.
It's like, why even have an ensemble piece?
Yeah.
And again, like we said, there was this one story arc that we really liked, and it had cohesive beginning, middle, and end. And it was mostly, it's supposed to be about seeing,
it's
like...
It's about Grace and Ted. It's about them.
Yeah, it's about Grace and Ted. It's about their storylines, their backstory. Like, it's supposed to be Grace's backstory tying into the Lord Ted thing, but it focuses almost entirely on Ellen and Anase.
Yeah. This is not an isolated thing. Every major story arc eventually is about them.
Okay, after that one storyline that we mentioned, they toned that down. Like you could tell, like, I get the feeling like a lot of people must have complained, because like after that, like, Ellen's barely in the comic.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's good. But still.
Yeah, yeah, she kind of like almost vanishes, and thank fucking God, because she was really kind of insufferable.
Yeah. Oh, actually, while we're talking about the cast here, kind of a related issue. Brian, talking about the author getting hung up on just like, I like the way this extra came out, so I'm just going to use them some more so I can keep drawing them.
Yeah.
He also routinely, like, drastically redesigns the main characters out of nowhere just because he feels like it.
Yeah, that's kind of...
It's hard to follow.
Yeah, it's like... imagine if you were watching TV and every episode this one actor got plastic surgery.
Yeah. Or like at the very least got like a different haircut. Sometimes dyed it.
Roseanne did that a lot, which felt really fucking stupid because she's supposed to be a really poor woman.
Yeah.
Like she's living. Oh, they're living on the edge of poverty, and yet she can see a stylist every week.
Yeah. Like, and it's not just like little tweets or something, or like the character like wearing their hair a different way. It's like no, they will like. Honestly, I think I've had like 4 or 5 different drastic redesigns of her haircut, and at times it's just completely changed color.
Yeah.
And it's been like integrated into the plot for no reason.
Yeah.
Did that whole story arc of her losing her mask even go anywhere?
I think it came back. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Unlike Martin, I've kind of sort of been keeping up. Kind of. Like, it's just like, they kind of tried it. It's like they're trying to go back to a slice of life thing, but even then, it's not really that interesting. Like there was a really good storyline of Ellen, Grace, Elliot, and Nanase going on a double date. That was kind of good. But after that, there's like, Elliot and Susan are doing the midnight screenings from Cinema Snob. So.
Speaking of, even though I didn't actually read to the point where they became a couple or whatever, or they started building to that. Based on what I've read, that makes no sense, and those two have no chemistry.
It's not that they do have chemistry. It sort of feels like it came out of nowhere, but like they started. They started referencing. They started building up to that. But then it just kind of like dropped. Yeah. Again, it's like the we'll deal with it later pile.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think we've kind of said everything we can about the cast that I didn't really in particular on like specific moments.
Yeah.
There is one thing I just thought of how I want to mention. With Ellen, the author said before that at one point in time there was a planned story arc where, due to like grief over her state as like, permanently female Elliot clone.
Yeah.
She was going to become an alcoholic. I really wish they'd done that.
Why?
I think it would give the character something if you like give her an actual flaw.
No wonder she's such a bitch.
Yeah. Because I mean, it kind of feels like she is, just nobody comments on it, and you never see it.
Yeah. I haven't even really been looking at the outline you drew up.
Yeah, well, I've been helping keep it going.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think now we're moving into the story.
Yeah, oh shit, we are going fast.
Yeah. Hey, like we said, we wanted to get this bit tightened up and kind of move at a quicker pace, makes it a bit more listenable.
And yet, on looking, we are running. This is we're at the 49-minute mark.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Hey, let's try and get to the story real quick then.
I don't even know what all I can say.
Yeah.
Like we covered, like the problem with the story is the pacing. Like either the stories are good but never get resolved. Like okay, there's Lord Ted. There's Ellen has an identical stranger who may or may not, and Susan has an identical stranger who may or may not be related to her. There's an invisible man called Magus who's trying to trick Ellen into using a blast on Elliot.
Well, he was trying to trick Elliot doing it.
Yeah, he was trying to trick two characters into blasting each other with a transformation beam. some.
Once this happens, nothing comes of it.
Yeah, there's a one of the teachers has a mother who's actually the personific, who's actually like some sort of fairy immortal creature who's trying to cause chaos throughout the world. There's a new
the whole plot with no, go on.
the Men in Black organization that controls all this wacky stuff now has a new head who's secretly evil and is going to try and twist things around. There's this guy who's like an abomination. He's like part monster, but he's disguised as a human. Like there are these magical tattoos that are appearing on people without warning and no one knows why. There are these whale creatures that appear to Ted and try to warn him about what's coming up in the future. It's just
there was that time with that hobo guy, and which seemed to only be there in order to give Elliot a reason to turn into his stupid superhero self.
Yeah, Elliot is turning into a superhero named Cheerleadra. Yeah. It's like...
I'm not sure which I hate more, that name or that idea.
Like, and all of this can be dropped at any time so that the characters can play card games at the local comic book store.
Yeah, like that,
Hire a fucking editor!
Yeah, like that, Pandora thing. That got built up for an eternity.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It just dropped.
I don't even remember if it got resolved or not. Like, maybe the guy's still around.
He told her off and just kind of left, and that was the end of it.
Christ.
It's just like his issues haven't been resolved, hers haven't. They should, by all rights, have like a fight going now or something. But no, we're done with it. I mean, this got built up for a while, too. They were showing up for probably like 3-4 years before this got dropped.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was just... It never dropped. I think there was... It's just like... You honestly don't... It honestly doesn't feel like he will ever... Like, the author will ever go out and try to solve this stuff.
Yeah. And then there was the Abraham thing, where he got tons of build-up and was like... Built this like huge ominous threat. Then he shows up, loses a single fight, and leaves. And that's it.
He turns himself back to stone, and he's in stone somewhere. And he'll rise again if he's needed, and maybe he'll come back in the future. Christ.
Yeah. It's just like, it's not like the comic is slow-paced or anything. Often it moves at a very breakneck pace. It's just that nothing ever is resolved or anything nothing happens to advance old plots. It is all about whatever the plot is right now, and most of the time whatever the plot is right now is not going to do the resolution.
No. Nothing gets resolved, ever.
Yeah. Like the,
Eyes are off center.
The whole thing with, God, I'm even blanking on his name right now.
Who is it?
Fire guy.
Oh, the hobo guy, yeah.
No, not him. I thought that was one for Grace's backstory.
You went kind of GLaDOS-y there, what?
I said, I'm talking about the one from, Grace's backstory.
Oh, shit, what was that guy's name? Yeah. Like, that's one thing that, like, Grace has these brothers. Oh, Damien!
Yeah, Damien, that was it.
Like, I know who, yeah. Grace has these...
Damien is the one villain, the one who had an actual arc.
Yeah, like he
is the only one.
This guy right here. He had this storyline. He had this really great build up, payoff, resolution. It was awesome. They got it done quick and fast, and it was just cool.
Died, and that was the end of it. Like,
and the reason
it all worked out well, you know. It's just. Oh, and then immediately after that, they ripped off Buffy.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that apparently that storyline was a Buffy riff-off. But the thing was, it's just...
Yeah, not so much the storyline with him, just the thing afterward of it, of coming off of beating him and doing that thing of everyone having, like, dreams that were, like, seeing visions of what all's to come in the future and all that.
That's just one thing that kind of, like, that kind of feels weird. It's just...
And at any given time, you don't know what the genre of the comic is going to be.
Yeah.
Like, at times it's an action story, like with Damien or whatever. At times it's like rom-com.
Yeah, it's kind of rom-com-y-ish at some points.
Yeah. There was the thing whenever they just stopped the
It's
plot.
hard. It's hard for me to say that. It's hard for me to say it's like a rom-com when there's no Hugh Grant.
Yeah, true. Then there was like the times they stopped the plot dead for over a year in order to have a party.
Oh yeah, the party thing. Like I was gonna say, like Elliot, Grace has these brothers, who we never see anymore. It's just like it kind of felt like yeah, there they are. This was the last time we saw them. I think she has like these three brothers, and one of them is a girl now. So you know.
Yeah, Hogan throw out to that. Yeah, the Comic every now and then has the same issue with Watch, where it's just like, oh, we're transforming people for the sake of it, or being the girl so much better. It has that every now and then.
Occasionally, like with the Damien arc, like I had up a moment ago. It's just why.
I do kind of like the way they explained it with the Vlad thing. Like, I can give it that.
Yeah, Vlad being a woman permanently made sense, but I mean like in terms of like the homosexual, in terms of like the guy sucks thing, it's like there was no reason, like they had to go out and they had to fight this really great bad guy, but Justin, who can fight as well, is still like, no, you stay home for no reason.
Yeah,
and it's not like
he does seem to have a certain double standard with that, where the lesbian characters, they get non-stop focus. But the
male gay character,
doesn't do anything.
Yeah, the gay guy gets nothing.
Yeah, and there's more than one lesbian couple in the comic, but I think he is the only gay man in the story.
They're kind of sort of trying to introduce a couple of new guys just to like throw them a bone.
Yeah.
And there's, Christ.
So yeah, just in general, like I said at the start of this, it's a case where I'd read the comics, but I would stop at a point, and that point is probably the end of the party.
Yes, that was like, well, fuck it.
Yeah. If only it holds, and actually at times it's sort of be really redundant, and here's a good example. The entire party, which, as said, ran for over a year, the main story arc of it was building up to Ellen and Lana hooking up. And they do. Then at the end, the next chapter is just like they break up again so they can redo it.
It's like Peter Parker and Mary Jane.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, they just straight up do that same story arc in like a third the time, immediately following it. And I don't mean like like chapter 2 later. No, I mean immediate.
Yeah. So I don't know how much we got left, man. I mean.
Yeah, I think we've about summed it up. Like I said, just in conclusion, I would read it. Just at the end of the party, the big dramatic shot of the two of them, like the laughing list at the end of the party. Stop there.
Yeah, that's it peaks, and we don't mean it peaks. It just kind of stops being good after that. And we're not even fans of that couple.
Yeah, just at that point in time, most of the story arcs outside of Lord's Head thing that had been hanging for a while are pretty much resolved. Characters are kind of at reasonably content points in their lives. There isn't a clear direction for what's coming in the future. But yeah, that's where I'd stop, because that will give you at least a satisfaction of like, okay, here's an ending point.
Yeah.
And plus, after that's when it gets bad.
It gets really bad. It's just like after they kissed, he lost his medication and never got it back. Yeah. Yeah. It's honestly flipping through it again for this podcast. Like, I do kind of want to reread some of the good points.
I kind of do too.
Because I think this was the first thing you requested me to draw for you.
I believe so. It was among the first.
Yeah, because that was how I got into. I read this comic because Martin was a fan of it first, and he asked me, like, can you draw?
I had to badger him for it. At first, he was reading the first few pages and like, I don't know, this seems pretty awful. I was just like, keep going.
No, I don't think you said keep going. I think you said skip to this point.
Oh yeah. I said skip to the first major storyline, and then you did that, and you were hooked.
Oh yeah. Because it was just like, yeah, it is a good story. Like there are good parts in the comic. Like you do like these characters. It's just you need a fucking editor or medication.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are a lot of...
Know what you're saying?
I think this is a complaint we're going to have with a lot of comics.
Yeah.
Is that they don't...
I think it works as an interesting contrast to Watch, actually, doing them back to back like that, because Watch, the big thing is, stop with the main plot, more side stuff, while with EGS is like, stop strolling around coming up with stuff and just focus on the main plots.
That's a good point. It's just...
I think they're a good companion piece that way.
Yeah.
This file is just like, stop doing whatever you're doing and start doing something.
Yeah. It's... And by the way, I realized this when we started doing it. We are going to do comics besides stuff that's completely obsessed with Chi-Ji.
Yeah, we are. It's just... Basically, tonight we were going to do Eerie Cuties and...
At the very last minute, we decided to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, it just... Like, Eerie Cuties will probably be next.
Most likely.
Said I want to do Gunner Trade Court, which is completely unlike this kind of stuff. Actually, I don't know. In terms of its structure and some of its ideas, it really isn't that similar, or dissimilar from EGS. It just does very different stuff with it.
I gotta want to see you gush.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds dirty, doesn't it?
Yeah. Suppose on it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll have complaints there, probably quite a few, but...
Even just reading what I have read of Gunner Creek Court of Martin linking it to me, it's linking me to it. It is really good. Like, I do like a lot of the stuff that's in it. I especially like Coyote. What's the name of that wolf?
You mean the one that backs up Coyote?
Yesengrin?
It's pronounced Isengrin.
Isengrin. Okay. Okay, that makes way more sense.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Point is about Goonish Shive, yeah, I'd give it a look, and know that the transformation stuff is not as arbitrary as it is in Watch. At times it is.
I think in general,
the
like...
cheerleader thing, really everything surrounding that.
Reading it for the first time, I felt like this was like it took a lot of the ideas that Watch was having, and like it took a lot of problems I had with Watch and did it right. Like
yeah. Like one character who's locked into being a female. Well, okay, two characters locked into being a female personally. One actually has significant problems with it, and the other one has reason not to care.
And I meant really that when it does do like pointless fan service, there's kind of a point. Like they make a joke about it, or it's funny.
Yeah.
Or it's interesting. What's that?
I said the party really overdid that.
Yeah, it did. I didn't like the party that much.
Especially how it just left Ellen out for no real reason.
Yeah. I was like, oh, we can't have Ellen transform. That'd be gross.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, speaking of that, I wanted to get the info now here. What was with that stupid thing of her having the whole second life in her dreams thing?
I think that was just to somehow... I think that was...
Have an explanation for why her and Elliot act differently.
No. It was implied, like vaguely implied, that was Lord Ted's dimension.
Yeah, I know that. It just it seemed just. I mean, it just what purpose did it serve narratively?
Narratively, it would have been foreshadowing to the stuff with Lord Ted, if that ever happened.
Yeah, probably not.
Like, yeah, it's like Ellen has some dreams where she's living another life. And in that life, she has her own. She's not just Ted's clone. She has like her whole a new backstory for herself. And in that life, it's implied that the Ted that she knows in that dimension will eventually grows up to become Lord Ted, the evil version. But again, we never get follow up for this.
Yeah.
Like everything that we bring up comes back to that.
Yeah. If we really wanted to properly on our EGS, what we would do is keep this phone call going for about 3 hours and then just hang up in the middle of it.
And for those 3 hours, stop talking about EGS.
Yeah.
Like, it turns out the TV show True Detective, as we just found out as Martin just told me before we started doing this, is actually set and filmed in my hometown.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. Like, I should watch it just to see if I recognize anything. Because I've been looking up screenshots, and I don't see anything.
Yeah, well, I think it's only set there for some of the later stuff. The the murder, the episodes I've been watching have been covering take place at a different town.
Is it Beaumont?
I don't. If they've said it, I haven't caught it.
No, wait,
Anyway,
Beaumont is Texas. Is it Lafayette?
Possibly. They have mentioned Texas a lot, and Texas seems to be close by.
Yeah. Where I think I'm like an hour away from Texas. I'm 2 hours away from Houston.
Yeah. Anyway, point is, I think we're pretty much done here. Like I said, I'd go read it. The link will be in the description.
Yes.
Just know when to quit.
Yes. Know when to quit, or don't get too attached to anything.
Yeah. Just like, if you're going to get invested in something, get invested in Damien until that actually gets a payoff.
Yeah. Some of the setup with Lord Ted was really good too. Oh well, that's pretty good. We got an hour. We got 65 minutes. That's 66 in a moment. Anyway, what he said, it's just yeah.
And yeah, this has been another episode of Webcomicast. We'll see you for the next one, when or whatever that is.
Good night, everyone.